This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
Well, this is as interesting as it gets. My guest this morning is Dr. Seema Rao, India's only woman trainer in close quarter battle for Indian forces. Dr. Seema Rao, welcome to the show.
Hi Rishi, thanks a lot.
Okay, first and foremost, what really is CQB? Obviously, as a corollary to that question, what is not CQB?
Well, CQB or close quarter battle is basically the art of battle at close quarters, usually about 30 meters or maybe extendable to 100 meters. Commando operations or special operations or anti-terror operations would all fall under this category. Well, what is not close quarter battle is martial art would not fall under close quarter battle, and close quarter battle is basically a military subject. It's meant only for the armed forces and not for civilians. Secondly, I guess long distance conventional warfare would also not fall under close quarter battle. That means what I'm talking of is beyond 100 meters, whatever warfare happens also does not fall under close quarter battle.
Now, what are the advanced commando combat system methodologies that you've used for exclusively training our Indian forces? Give our listeners an insight into that.
Yeah, sure. You see, Advanced Commando Combat System or ACCS is basically a modern CQB methodology. It was developed by my husband Major Rao and myself, and this was based on the experience of training about 15,000 soldiers for the past 18 years. We trained soldiers across the width and span of the country, and we trained the Indian Armed Forces in the sense the Special Forces, the Paras. We trained the Garuds of the Indian Air Force, the National Security Guard, the Marcos of the Indian Navy, and paramilitary forces also like the ITBP. And basically, the ACCS is made of close quarter combat shooting as well as small team combat tactics. Then you also have unarmed combat, and you have urban combat, which involves combat inside buildings and inside rooms. Well, it would also include commando training for hostage rescue or operations behind enemy lines. So that's what ACCS would be.
Wow, this sounds right out of a spy novel. You've set up an NGO called UCCA. Now, what are the
Yes.
activities you're involved in, and what is the motive behind forming UCCA?
Well, UCCA stands for, the U stands for unarmed combat, the C stands for commando warfare, the second C stands for close quarter battle, and finally A is for academy. UCCA is basically made of retired defense officers as well as other technical experts. They work without compensation for modernization of close quarter battle. In fact, we also have a civil chapter which runs the Academy of Combat Fitness. And this is a place where, civilians can learn a combat course, for example, like Bruce Lee's art, which is called Jeet Kune Do. And the ACF, the Academy of Combat Fitness, is the only Asian authentic authorized center where one can learn Bruce Lee's art. Besides that, the NGO does a lot of work in the sense we publish, training manuals. And these are distributed free to the armed forces, to the forces all over the country. And we don't accept any sponsorships, we don't accept any grants, nothing of that sort. But, there are no money dealings with anybody. In fact, in the future, the venture that we're going to undertake is we're also going to go into movie making in the sense, make a movie which is on Jeet Kune Do, the art part of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's going to be a comedy satire, a little bit based on the Mahabharata.
Oh, this is getting exciting. I'm in conversation with Dr. Seema Rao. Her life is really, really exciting, an approved resource under the Ministry of Home Affairs in CQB, Close Quarter Battle. More to come, 94.3 Radio 1.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
The inspirational life story of Dr. Seema Rao. Now, without compensation, with many sacrifices, she has been training Indian commandos from every elite Indian force, including the NSG, the Army Special Forces, Commando Wing, Navy Marcos, Air Force Garud, and police of 16 states. Now, you've been involved in the research and writing of a few books. Tell us about these books.
Rishi, till date, there has been no technical manual on the subject of close quarter battle in the world. So me and my husband Major Rao, we authored the first encyclopedia on close quarter battle. This book got very popular. It found its place into FBI, Interpol and SWAT libraries all over the world.
Wow.
And yes, hundreds of copies were also gifted free of cost to the Home Ministry, to Sri Chidambaram. And this was distributed to the Indian forces, all over the country. In fact, we also sent a lot of books to police and forces organizations all over the world. In fact, we have authored rather about 9 books till date. And the latest one I'd like to speak about is also The Art of Success, which I authored. This is not a technical book, where it comes to training, but it's a book which speaks of the success story of my husband in getting the President's Rank Award. And apart from that, it speaks about how one can use the samurai bushido for success in life. So this book is also doing pretty well over the world.
What's the samurai bushido? I know, I've heard of samurai warriors. Yeah.
Yes, the bushido is the warrior code of a samurai. The samurai is a Japanese warrior, and he follows a certain code which is called he follows a warrior philosophy. That's called the bushido.
World War II methodologies were considered like the byline or the blueprint in the forces. You've revamped that, you've modernized that, something that you believe in. How did you do that, and what have you brought about?
Well, the importance of close quarter battle was realized after the Kargil war, where the enemy came face to face with the Indian soldiers. Also, with the current day scenario of terrorism in urban cities, the importance of close quarter battle is realized. Now, World War II methodology, this was very primitive and basically involved bayonet fighting as well as waste fire firing. So, this needed to be changed, and we have contributed to founding and spreading newer methods of reflex shooting. That's, quick shooting, aiming with the foresight only, that kind of stuff. And newer methods where, quick response teams have newer protocols. So that's how, we contributed. And these methods have been incorporated in relevant army commands, under directive of army commanders. And we were also approved as resource by the Home Ministry to train the state police. So that's how it went.
Dr. Rao, you're also a great believer in JKD, Jeet Kune Do, the art founded by Bruce Lee. So
Yes.
talk to our listeners about this.
Well, yeah, that's really interesting. I've been doing JKD and believing in JKD for a really long time, for almost 25 years of my life. Jeet Kune Do or JKD is the art and philosophy of life, I would say. And basically, it deals with, on the art side, it teaches you how to kick, to box, to use your knees and elbows, to wrestle, and to fight on the ground all in one go. It has no, belief in weight, age, or gender categories. In fact, it believes that combat can be tailor-made to an individual. He could be young or old, he could be fit or unfit, he could be male or female. The philosophy of JKD is practiced, basically in attaining your goal in life, or else maybe to overcome any adversity. So this is the way the philosophy, helps one in life. So it's basically the physical, and it's also something to do with combat in life.
Fantastic. Your website says this course is available for civilians. Where can one apply? How can one apply?
Yes, Jeet Kune Do can be learnt by civilians, by anybody, and they have to apply. They could write to our email address, which is info@jkdindia.com, or they could call up the mobile number, which is 9820496752. And when they do that, they would be screened and before they would be taken in for the course. So that would equip them with physical and mental and philosophical skills of being able to take on life.
These are troubled times that we live in, and especially with everything that women are going through. Of course, we are going to devote a section to that in the near future. But in the light of that, I'd like you to repeat the website or the email ID as well as the phone number, please.
Yeah, sure. The email address would be info, that's info @jkdindia.com, and the number would be 98204-96752.
Dr. Seema Rao is an expert in CQB, close quarter battle. She's trained the Indian forces. There's going to be more conversation with her up ahead. 94.3 Radio 1. Don't go anywhere.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
For 18 years, she's been working full-time without compensation. This is really, really admirable. I'm talking to Dr. Seema Rao. She's an expert in CQB, close quarter battle, worked with the forces, and you'll realize now where all this is coming from. You come from a freedom fighters family.
Yes, I do.
You've got to tell us about your background, how you got interested in this particular field. It's so male-dominated, isn't it? So that all the ladies who are listening may be inspired.
Well, Rishi, I was the daughter of a freedom fighter, and I saw my father. In fact, I heard stories about his freedom struggle and, what he did for the soil. So I grew up admiring soldiers as well because I believe that they give their today for our secure tomorrow. And what happened is my interests of unarmed combat, sport shooting, deep sea diving, mountaineering, and my extreme fitness is what proved very useful in this field. My husband and I basically, to start with, we gave demos in unarmed combat and combat shooting. We would do this on invitation to small army units. And what happened is, destiny, it's very strange, but I just got pulled into the whole thing because of my attributes. And though my husband did have, qualifications in close quarter battle, but I was, I had, like I said, I had all the attributes to be going into that field. So I picked up the skills from him. I was quick to do that. And that's how the ball just rolled on.
What's your advice as an inspirational, powered woman to women who are facing a threat from men around this country? Incidents of violence, crime, rape against women are growing. What should they do when they're confronted with sudden attack, Dr. Seema Rao, and especially considering, street crimes are also on the rise?
Well, the first thing that I would like to say is awareness is very important for a woman. Fear is an essential part for survival. This is what I think. And you need to conquer your fear. You need to channelize your fear. For example, if a woman is being chased by assailants and she is running into a blind alley which has a blind end, what she must realize is when she runs inside, she is eventually going to reach the blind end and then they are going to be attacking her. But what she has to do is move towards them, because towards them is also moving towards the open end of the alley, and that gives her a better chance of survival. I would say threat awareness, threat response, all these things would be very important. Carry a taser with you probably to shock the assailant. Taser is a very small, it's like a mobile phone, in fact, as small as that. It's got a button, and when you touch it to your assailant, it gives him a very, intense shock.
Is it freely available in electronic stores and things like that, or does one have to order it?
You'd probably have to order it. I'm not aware of where it is.
Just spell it in case they want to Google it.
I guess it's TAESER. So a taser would be good because it would give an electric shock to the assailant. That's something which will really be effective. Then if you're in a mess, what you could do is use the 4 B's. That would be bluff, barter, bolt, and battle. When I say bluff, I mean bluff your way out of the situation. Say anything. Say, for instance, tell the guys that you are the daughter of a big shot and, they could get into a mess if they tamper with you. When I say barter, I mean barter something. Tell him, I've got this gold, I have this jewelry, I have this money, I'll give it to you, let me go. So that's barter. The third would be to bolt, that's run as hell. If you can run, run. And the last would be to battle, that would be to fight back. But yes, I would also say one thing, that to be able to battle, you would have to know, some self-defense, techniques which would protect you. So maybe doing a course in self-defense would help you. Why I say that fear is an essential part of survival is because of, I remember the saying, by Nelson Mandela. I won't be able to tell you the exact words, but the essence of that saying was that everybody is afraid and there's nothing wrong in being afraid. But what you should do is overcome that fear inside you. That is important.